Hey, what's going on, everyone? Hope you guys are having an amazing weekend, and I hope you guys have an eventful weekend. I would say happy
Too
Friday,
young.
but it's
You a
about
fool
11
for
p.m.,
this
so
one.
Friday's almost over. But either way, let's talk about today's video and how Underground 1's remake needs to be to the original. I will talk more about Underground 2, but honestly, if I'm just gonna be honest, is the one that I really do want out of out of the remakes would be number one. And now, after seeing Pro Skater 3 and 4's gameplay, after seeing more extended gameplay, I can tell you right now, Iron Galaxy Studios can definitely get it done. Um, they even had Eric Sparrow in Pro Skater 3 and 4. I guess in a way, I mean, I don't really like the way his model looks. I mean, I guess he's just he's just an NPC they put in for fun. So obviously, he's not the original one. I guess in a way, this is like the early Eric Sparrow because it's in the water park level. So I guess you could just see like an early version of what he looked like. He has like a little mohawk and stuff. So, that's just that. But it just tells me that they are aware of Eric Sparrow. They are aware of the Underground games. Tony Hawk talked about it with Screen Rant when there was an event for Pro Skater 3 and 4 remakes. He talked about how he's gonna try to make it happen. That's definitely because I will tell you right now, the best Tony Hawk game, in my opinion. I love Pro Skater 3 and 4. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy for his remakes. I cannot wait to play, especially Canada. I cannot wait to play the Canada level in the Pro Skater 3 and 4 because it looks really good. And 4, I'm just gonna be honest, it looks really, really good. If you guys have not gone and seen it, a link down below to go see some extended gameplay. It looks really good. But man, I'm like, dude, Underground 1 is the best Tony Hawk game because 1, it had its own story. 2, it had cutscenes. 3, it was just its own genre. Like, you know what I mean? It's like street skateboarding, right? Because a lot of it is like that was like the first street skateboarding game that kind of like was very like it was just like a massive game at the time. I mean, if you guys remember the launch, it was pretty crazy. Honestly, man, I remember back then for Underground 1, like there was like a line of like 10 people trying to get it for the PS2. I don't know about the Xbox version. I think some people are picking up, but most people had PS2s back then, so that was that. And dude, like I said, the hype was there. I saw people lining up to get it. There's like copies they had to go in the back to get more. I mean, like I said, dude, like this game is a gem that cannot be done wrong. It needs to be the original, guys. I need to see everything from the original. I do not want to see a recast of the voice actor. I do not want to see a recast of any voice actor. I know that some will say like, oh, it might be hard because all skaters and celebrities. Not really, because I mean, honestly, Bam's already aboard. Bam's already with Tony Hawk now. He's already agreed to be in the games. I'm honestly, guys, that was probably, if not, I would say one of his like first appearances. Not one of his first appearances, right? But the one of the games where you hear him talk more in the game. Like he has his own little cutscenes, like his own little story in that game. And then Underground 2, he has his own. Basically, it was Tony Hawk versus Bam. So at the end of the day, I don't see any issue of them making sure all skaters are there. They can also add new skaters like they've been doing, so that's even more better. But all I'm saying is that they need to make sure that it is to the original. I don't care if they can't get the voice actor, then fuck it. Go make sure that the original voice actor for Eric Sparrow is there. Okay? You guys all remember the Proving Ground actor that was there. I don't know who that was, but look, man.
Too young. You a fool for
All I
this
gotta
one.
say is that I need that original voice actor, whether if he wants to do it or not. Go ahead and just use the old voice lines, okay? Just do what you can with them. Try to amplify more, try to edit them more, make them sound even more crispy and cleaner. Honestly, I do not care, man. Just do not take any of that away. You know what I mean? Like, because we all were scared about, when we first heard the news that Pro Skater 3 and 4 story modes were like kind of gone, but they're technically not gone. They're in there. So, like, all I'm saying is that they should know, that Underground 1 especially is going to be a big game to remake. I don't expect this game to come out, if the remake is to happen, right? There's no way it doesn't happen because that's like the biggest launches in Tony Hawk's games. Like that Underground 2, I mean, I feel like Underground 2 had its different type of opinion. I think the story was very different from what it was with Underground 1. Like I just feel like Underground 1's more story is if I were to tell you the best story in the Tony Hawk games, and it's between Underground 1, 2, and American Wasteland, I would have to say Underground 1 beats those two. Honestly, the story was amazing. I loved how they paced it. I loved how Eric Sparrow was like the villain. Like everyone hates Eric Sparrow. Like if you had a PS2 back then, you played Underground and you knew who he was, whether you beat the game from halfway through or you got to the first mission, you didn't like him. You know what I mean? So my thing is that I just need to make sure that they have everything down to the details that are with that game. I would say to make sure the Iron Man skin is still in there. I would make sure that the Gene Simmons level is still in there as well, because guys, like, we need the Kiss level in there because we need to make sure everything is there. I know that might be the issue where celebrities come into play. Sometimes the licensing, maybe trying to get Marvel to say okay to that, whatever the case. Look, if they said okay back then, they can say okay now. There should not be any issues of trying to get that done. When do I hypothetically see his game coming out? Honestly, Tony Hawk has been talking about he's trying to get it done. You understand that when Pro Skater 1 and 2 remakes came out was 2020. They were already apparently starting on Pro Skater 3 and 4. Then Bobby Cocksucker came through and kind of like moved the studio that was doing the Pro Skater 1 and 2 remakes, and they moved into Blizzard to work on Diablo, which was one of the worst things in the world. Because guys, if I'm gonna be honest with you, Activision has not released any new games other than Call of Duty since the last time you saw new games, right, or something different from Activision, was 2018, 19, and then you saw it in 2020. That's it. After that, it was nothing but Call of Duty. They made every and any studio work on Call of Duty. They even made Toys for Bob. We didn't get a Spyro game for the 5 years. Like, the last Spyro games we got were from Toys for Bob, and they remade the first 3 games, which was amazing. We would have thought we would have got another game, but no. Like, they made them work on Call of Duty maps. Okay, so, and also Pro Skater 3 and 4 were already being made by the original studio that was working on that made Pro Skater 1 and 2 remakes. So when those got canceled, I'm not sure if Iron Galaxy had just picked up where they left off with. I don't know how it was. Either they just started on it, whatever the case was, man. But we were so close. Like, honestly, we could have, by now, we probably could have already had Underground 1 and maybe even 2 remakes by now. We probably would have already had that. But like I said, man, he is trying to get it done. I just think this is going to be a game that takes at least 2-3 years to, make. I could see it coming out possibly. Honestly, man, I wouldn't even be shocked if it comes out PS6. That's how, because we hear the PS6 coming out 2027, 2028. I see this game probably 2027, maybe 8. Who knows, right? If they want to do 8, they could do that just and amplify the next gen consoles. But at the end of the day, this game, when it comes out, I just hope that all the things that we remember from it are there. We all know it's going to look better. We all know it's going to have new stuff, new skaters, right? But the one main thing is that the levels look amazing. The nostalgia is there. The game that we remember from 2003 is there. The story is intact. It's still the same. And it's not these like dumbass little challenge things, honestly. I want to make sure, I hope the cutscenes are there because, like I said, those cutscenes were pretty funny. I liked them. The soundtrack, I hope the soundtrack is down to what it was in 2003. I know that might be a little hard with some stuff. I know soundtracks are always, honestly, guys, like the one thing I don't like now is that, if you ever have any song playing, YouTube will always either put in a copyright claim, your video might get claimed. So one thing Pro Skater 3 and 4 have done is they have like a streamer mode on right now, which is kind of like, they have to do that because most of music in those games do get copyright claims now. A lot of people have to always disable the music, which kind of sucks because those games, the soundtracks are what amplifies them the most. So, and Underground 1 most definitely has the best soundtrack, and I would hope that it is like all the originals. You know what I mean? I will have to say that I hope they have a stream mode in that one as well, because if I do want to play it, I don't want to have it where fucking YouTube's like they're just like striking down like copyright claims left and right. You know what I mean? I would hope that there is a stream mode for that game, but like I said, man, I just think that Iron Galaxy has been doing a good job. This game, the Pro Skater 3 and 4 remakes are actually they look really good, man. We're 8 days away if you bought the Ultimate or Collector's Edition, whatever the case might have been. If not, you're about, I'd say, maybe even 10 days away from launch. So, like I said, man, I'm really... If it's not after Underground 1's remake, a lot of people have been saying that Iron Galaxy, or just people in general, they've been saying that, it wouldn't be bad to see a new Tony Hawk game. I agree with that. Do I want to see a new Pro Skater? No. If I'm going to be honest with you, Tony Hawk can pivot right now and say, you know what, after his Underground 1 remake, say if after this, it's like, because I know an Underground remake is going to happen, right? But say after the Underground 1 remake, and say they also want to remake number 2 as well, I'll be okay with that too. But say after that, they can always just say fuck it and go for Underground 3. You know, a full-fledged Underground 3 that we haven't got for almost like, what is it? Now it's like 24 years now, or not even 24. It's like more than that. But that'd be insane if they did that. It's just that it would have to be done right. Would an Underground 3 be necessary? Honestly, guys, I could tell you it could be. But then there's a lot of things you do. It depends on what they do right or what they don't. So it would be challenging. Too young. But yeah, and Underground 3 is a possibility that they can go for, because seeing what Iron Galaxy has done, especially with the new maps they've made, it seems like they know what to do for, at least to make a level for a Tony Hawk game, especially, you know, what Pro Skater 1 and, you know, what the Pro Skater series could be, you know, what it was. But for me, if they were to attempt at another Tony Hawk game, like I said, it would have to be Underground 3. I would hope that they bring back a lot of classical things from Underground 1, honestly, because, like I said, Underground 2, it just, some say of course it had a story, right, but it was much more shorter, and the cutscenes were a lot more shorter, and honestly, like, that game's story was just, I don't know, man, it wasn't really the story that Underground 1 was, so that's why when I say that if they were to remake one of them, just go for Underground 1. I don't mind if Underground 2 doesn't come immediately, and if they can't do it. Whatever the case is, just make sure that Underground 1 is the main game that gets remade, you know, and when it is remade, that everything is done to its original form that it was. And like I said, if certain voice actors, you know, they don't want to record lines or whatever the case might be, then fucking take the old lines from the PS2 game and put it into the new PS5 game. Really does not matter. I do not want to see, like I said, guys, I just hope that they don't alter their appearances. No one's appearance is altered. I hope that everything is the same that it was. The story is the same. I know, see, that's the only challenging part, is making sure the story comes out the way it needs to come out, which shouldn't be, because when you're remaking a game, you're just remaking the whole game. I know it can be challenging, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that it's fucking easy, because it's not. But my main thing is that if you are gonna do it, just make sure that it's down to the original, because if anything, if they don't, right, you're playing with a lot of people's emotions with this game, because if it's done right, you will have, if not millions of people buying this game. Millions of people buying it, because this game, Underground 1, you had millions of people buying it then, right? But you can even enhance it more, because there's a generation that never played this game. There's a lot of kids that never played it. This is a lot of kids, their first Tony Hawk is about to be this remake, Pro Skater 3 and 4. Some people's was Pro Skater 1 and 2 remakes. A lot of things is there's a lot of new gamers, and showing them what games were back then is even a much better example, because one, it gives them even more taste to what good games are. So my opinion is that just make sure the game is done to its original form. Everything is there. The original voice is there. The original things, all the maps are just enhanced, right? I would love to see what the maps would look like now, because I think they would look amazing. And especially because Underground 1 has such, honestly, man, my favorite maps from Underground 1 is Tampa, Canada. I don't know the exact name for the Canada map, but I know it was in Canada. Hawaii. The Kiss level was honestly, like, dude, the Kiss level overall is like one of my favorite things, because you could drive the one buggy in there too, so it's even more cool, man. But I just think that game had, dude, honestly, it's something about the New Jersey map, right? When you play it, especially if you played the online back then, right? It was even more crazier, man. Like, there was such a that New Jersey map, whenever you play it, it just transports you back to 2003. You feel like it's a summer, you know what I mean? Like it takes you back to that moment. 'Cause I know some people have this moment where, you know, when the game, like, that was a summer game you played in 2004, 3, whatever the case might have been, right? You played it then, and like you have all these memories with it. Mainly 4, to summer 2004. Like you had fun with those memories, and you just remember all the things that you did in that game. And honestly, man, it's just it's something that you want to relive again. I hope that when this game is remade, that you can in some way attain that, right? And there is some type of, you know, hope that they are going to make sure it's done right. I know Tony Hawk has said that he wants to make sure it's done right, and that it actually is done the way it needs to be, so fans are actually will be happy with it, which, you know, honestly, man, that's all you could ask for, hopefully. I don't see this game coming out anytime soon, because, dude, this game has an actual story. This game has actual cutscenes. This game has a lot of stuff it needs to do right. And like I said, you know, it's going to take some time. I don't see this game coming out, if it were to happen, right? I don't see it coming out till 2028, maybe even 29. No, that's just what I think of it. I know it sucks that we have to wait that long, but like I said, if we had gotten Pro Skater 3 and 4 remakes back in 2022 and 23, like we were supposed to, and Bobby Kotick did not ruin the company and just merge the studio with Blizzard, we could have possibly had these Underground remakes now. We could have probably had Underground 1 remakes right now. But, you know, it is what it is. Things happen, things move on. So hopefully, like I said, the future looks bright. I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen. So I just hope that when it is done, it's done right. It sticks to the original, and we get what we wanted for a long time. You know, we've been wanting an Underground 1 remake since we got Pro Skater 1 and 2 remakes. Honestly, that was like my first thought. I was like, okay, honestly, look, I wouldn't mind them skipping 3 and 4, but look, I need Pro Skater. I just need Underground 1, 2, and American Wasteland. I'm good. That's all I need. That's the dream right there. And maybe even put in, you know, Project 8. I wouldn't mind getting Project 8 again. I think Project 8, you know, it depends, man. Project 8 really depends if they want to do it or not. I don't know if I think, you know what's funny? If Project 8 got re-released right now, it'd probably go off. It would probably go off, and it would actually do well right now. I think back then the only issue was that you can't make Project 8 and then the game was coming off was American Wasteland, and the skating in American Wasteland was, you know, like, when I say that the skating in Project 8 was different, I really mean it was different. It was nothing alike of what we've been playing since Underground 1, you know? And the thing is, we had that skate, and even the Pro Skater games, like, it just Underground 1, 2, and 3, they all kept on, you know, and they kept on improving, right? But then with Project 8, I guess they were trying to go for more of like a realistic type of feel, which is fine. I mean, if you bought Project 8 for PS2, it's really this. Honestly, that's the one funny thing is that if you bought Project 8 for PS2, the skating wasn't different. It was basically what the skating was from the American Wasteland games, Underground. It's really all the same. So if you really want to play it, I say go play the PS2 version, or you could play the PS3 version. Really doesn't matter. But it was kind of odd how that version was literally, it was like American Wasteland, but just a different, you know, just basically a different look, kind of like what we would see for like a sequel to one of those games. So, you know, I thought they should have just kept it the way it was. It could have done well back then even more. But hey, if Project 8 were to get remade now, I think it'd do well in this type of generation now. Okay? I feel like people would actually love that more. So, you know, it is what it is. But I'll see you guys next time. Let me know down below what you guys think was news. What are your thoughts? What was your first Tony Hawk game? And also, what is your first memory of Underground 1? What was your first memory with the game? How long did you play it? And also, did you beat the game by yourself, or did your brother beat it for you? Whatever the case might have been, let me know, because I know a lot of people had brothers back then, older brothers, who'd beat the game for them, or they would watch them play. You know, I've been there myself. So, you know, it just is what it is, man. But I'll see you guys next time. Stay sane, never lose hope. And also, have an amazing weekend. And have an amazing 4th of July. I have many more videos coming out. So I'll see you guys next time. Peace.